All right, here with John Vodenlich, ABCA ATEC Division III Coach of the Year, but also ABCA Hall of Famer, UW-Whitewater. I think heading into his 22nd season now, but 3 national championships, and got it rolling over there. So congrats.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Did last year getting beat in the championship series, did that help this year's team?
Yeah, of course. It's somewhat of a cliche, and as a coach, you're always looking for some extra motivation, for your men. But I think they did it on themselves. I mean, when we lost that game, as soon as we were done with the awards ceremony last year, the guys already started talking about, all right, we're coming back next year, we're going to win it, and that wouldn't be the first time I've heard people talk like that. But it's one thing to say and one thing to do it. So I'm really impressed with what they did.
Was the makeup similar of this year's team? I mean, just the stats are gaudy. It's almost like not believable because it's like 364 team batting average, a below 4 team ERA, and then 970 fielding percentage. Was it makeup similar of this year's roster as last year's roster?
Yeah, it was. It was very close. There was a couple key losses, but those areas filled in pretty well. So, the vast majority of those guys that were starting had been on the team the year before. And once again, that's, I think, another overused theory. Hey, we got everyone coming back. If I had $1 for every time someone told me that and had a bad year, I'd be rich, man. So, it's good to have people coming back, but what they did was remarkable. So, and then of course we had some key people step in spots that we had to fill. So it was for the most part though the same type of team.
How do you keep players from getting complacent like that, or just taking it for granted? Well, we got a lot back. How do you keep players away from that complacency or thinking it's going to be easy because we've got everybody back?
Well, certainly how the coaches react and interact with them matters. Not acting like, hey man, you've reached the promised land. You could be very low key in practice. We try to make sure we keep them on edge. I mean, just remind them gently that last year was over and this was a new year. And then of course that doesn't work unless you have the right mindset. Each player. I mean, we had a remarkable group. Responsible, intelligent, hardworking. They were all those things, whether we did something or not. But yeah, we definitely tried to make sure we gave them gentle reminders along the way that whatever you thought you did last year, that's not helping us anymore this year. This is a new year. We're going to have to work at it. And for the most part, our upperclassmen really led the way.
Do you have any keys for pitching development? I mean, almost every one of your starters was at a 3 or below. Do you have keys for pitching development?
Yeah, and I walk gently around that topic because I don't want to step on too many toes. But if in general, if you look at what's happening, I think in the game when it comes to pitching, you're seeing an overemphasis of velocity. Everyone's trying to chase velocity. And over the last 10 to 15 years, we've reduced pitchability because of it. I mean, I'm not completely against plyo balls. I'm not completely against, using that water cannon. I'm not completely against long toss. I'm not completely against any of those things. But, I've seen some great 300-foot long toss guys that can't pitch. I've seen plenty of guys crush a pull down into a net or whatever and not be able to pitch. So, at the center of our, I think, philosophy is that we're going to put a ball in their hand as often as we can safely, and we're going to require them to pitch. And pitching, even a bullpen is not quite pitching. So we're always trying to notch up the intensity in those bullpens and things of that nature. But I mean, the short of it is people aren't pitching enough anymore. They're chasing this velo thing. And so they're throwing the heck out of the ball, once or twice a week, and they're not getting enough time on the mound to pitch. And I remember when I was a young coach and all the scouts used to say, oh, yeah, get him on the hill, get him on the hill. And I was like, man, there's more to this than just old school, put him on the hill and throw a bullpen. But I think, the sweet spot's somewhere in between there, right? I mean, all the things we're doing to develop velocity, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not opposed to that. But I do think that at the center of our philosophy, like I said, is you got to be able to pitch. And we spend a lot of time on crafting guys who understand how to pitch instead of just be metric driven.
In that 7-day week schedule for a pitcher, are they throwing multiple bullpens during the week?
We sure hope so. So I'll give you a little talk on our fall. In our fall, we're only going to be together 3 times a week. And all 3 of those days we'll go through the full gamut of what we want, which would include some type of live bullpen performance every day. And sometimes in the spring it's 4 days a week and maybe one day is a really light body day. But if we're together 5 days a week and one's a non really throwing day, the other 4 days we're picking up a ball and we're doing target practice. That might be to bullpen. It might be a live matchup. It might be a simulated scrimmage. It might be whatever we can create. But yeah, the more frequently we can put the ball in their hand, the better it is for us. And I do think that, to manage loads, I'd rather have low loads and high frequency than high loads, once or twice a week, because look, you don't get better at something unless you do it. So like, I know you're really good at long toss. Great. That's great for you, but that doesn't help us win games. And I think that's part of the overall philosophy that's going on in the game that I'm struggling with a little bit. Nothing against the metrics, nothing against velocity. The funny thing is our pitchers over the last 26 years, they've averaged in the first year in our program 3 to 6 miles an hour of bump in their velocity. So it's not like we don't like it. It's just not our highest priority. We need to win games, and in order to do that, you got to know how to pitch.
Do you think that's the beauty of Division III, because you are with them 3 times a week, but obviously your players are working on their own? Do you feel like that kind of maybe develops a self-driven, self-motivated kid because they are going to have to work on their own sometimes?
Yeah, I think it does. And there's a lot of changes going on in baseball right now, as you know, but I'm very fortunate to be at the level we're at. And we've looked at other options and I've had interviews and the whole thing, but I'm very happy the level we're at. And that this level's even changing, but number one, you're starting with a really solid individual that is there for the love of the game. They want to be there. They're highly driven because they really want to be treated like they were at LSU. And we try to give them as close to a really reputable Division I, kind of experience. But yeah, there's a lot I'm not dealing with because we're a D3 school.
And then 80 of your regular position players were hitting 340 or above. And you guys averaged over 10 runs a game.
We hit a lot.
But that's been Whitewater's kind of MO too, though, right? Over the course of you guys have always hit, correct?
Yeah. No, we've been good hitters, and we've been good pitchers, and I guess at the center of what we try to do as well is, if we can play catch better than the opposing team, if we can be fundamentally sound all the way around, and then let our talent play, I think we're going to win more than we lose. And we do hit a lot. We do believe in that a lot. We focus on our catch play. We really spend a lot of time with our pitchers. I've relegated some of the stuff to one of my assistants and then a volunteer, and the volunteer is a former major leaguer. But these 2 guys do an exceptional job. But I'm involved in every day with them. I guess out of my 26-year career, I've been the pitching coach probably for 22 of the years, right? So I'm in a really good spot because I have some really quality, pitching minds with me. But we're separating them because we want to make sure we're watching them and we're giving them all the resources. If you think of the normal template, if pitching's that important, why do you usually relegate it to one pitching coach? Meanwhile, you got 3 guys hitting fungos and 2 guys throwing BP, but there's only 1 guy down there all by himself. So I think pitching has to be put, in a special place because it's so important.
And you're a lifelong learner. You're always trying to add new things. Did you adjust anything training wise in the fall and the spring?
Well, first of all, yeah, the fall and the spring are very different in what we're trying to achieve. Um, in the fall, we if we're going to make any mechanical or movement changes, we're going to do that in the fall, whether it's with our hitters or fielders, our throwing, arm path or something like that. If we're going to play with anything, it's going to be in the fall. So that's definitely different than the spring. And we've gone through our cycles. I mean, we use metrics. I mean, we have 2 Rapsodos. We have plenty of guns. We believe in spin rates, and no one has really developed a great way of increasing spin rate. But for
That isn't
profiling,
legal.
yeah. Well, that is right. There are ways, but now they're checking us. So, but from a profile standpoint, being able to look at the metrics and the data, to kind of find out what they might be able to do for us. I mean, we're all into all that stuff. For 8 years, we did a weighted ball program, and I disbanded it after 8 years because I thought, number one, our velocity was not seeing a better improvement than what we had been doing. Number one, and number two, I thought we were losing ability to pitch. I mean, you're throwing some type of weighted plyo or some other ball, and you're probably throwing it maybe 10 feet, right straight ahead. You're not sure if it's a strike. It feels like a strike. You think it's a strike. You even put an X on the wall. That's a great job. But at the end of the day, you don't have any idea whether or not it ended in the right spot. So that feedback is an important thing. But getting back to your question, we've adjusted a lot throughout our years, but the fall is much different than the spring. In the fall, we're trying to give them an opportunity to make some adjustments, some changes, and we're trying to be there, to push them in that direction.
And I wasn't at the World Series this year, but I was there 2 years ago. I really thought you guys were going to win it. I was there the first 3 days, and I really felt like you guys were going to win it last year too.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example. I'm sorry, I'm getting a call here.
It's all good.
Uh, you know, I learned a lot. My Misericordia, I'll be the first to admit. I mean, you look at them and you watch them swing, and you're not overly impressed. And that's just another example that metrics don't win games, right? You got to compete at the plate, and they were one of the most competitive teams I've ever seen. And I was really, really impressed with how they went about their business. I was
Winning
happy to see.
baseball, like when you watched them, they played winning baseball. Like their offense was built to score runs in a variety of ways. I loved watching them play, and that's a beautiful thing about baseball is like they played right. Their offense was right. They will put all kinds of pressure on you with drag bunting and push bunting. That will drive you crazy. It's like one of those gnats that won't go away. Like that was their offense. It's like a gnat that won't go away.
I think there was one of the games they beat us. I think they had either 15 to 18 singles. So they had 15 to 18 hits. All of them were singles. Well, you look at that, you're like, we got to maybe focus on power numbers. Well, they did just fine. So yeah, they were a good baseball team, and we learned a lot from watching that team play.
When you got in this thing, did you think you'd win 3 national championships?
I didn't think about it much. I mean, if you start thinking about what you're going to do from that standpoint, then you're probably working against, the fundamentals of the game, right? I mean, we're talking, it's definitely a thing now that everyone's preaching, staying in the moment, pitch by pitch, inning by inning, that type of mentality, and I think that's all we can do. I think over the years, I've probably started to set less goals than ever before because goals are somewhat artificial, and I think most of us probably limit ourselves when we verbalize our goal, right? I don't know if most of us really think that we're as capable as we are, right? If you set a goal as hitting 400, you're probably gonna hit 402. Good job, you set your goal, but you didn't hit 450. So yeah, I set goals less. I try to stay in the moment more. I don't look too far in the future anymore. I also try not to put artificial expectations on our team. Like, okay, we lost a lot this year, so that must mean, boy, we're going to not win any games this year. I don't know if we're going to win any games yet. So that's what the fall is going to be about.
With your Hall of Fame podcast, you and I talked about peak performance stuff. Did you end up adding any peak performance stuff in after that? You and I had talked a little bit about adding some peak performance stuff in.
Yeah, like what are you referring to? The actual like the
We got into some breathing stuff. We got into we went in a variety of different directions.
mindfulness.
Yeah,
We
we
talk
went in
mind.
all.
Yeah,
Yep.
we talk more about it, and we try to put it into our practices more than ever before. I mean, for example, um, if you're working a drill set with tees or toss or even a BP set, we're gonna give them moments for routines. We're gonna give them moments for breathing. We're gonna do a lot more one pitch stuff, than ever before on the offensive side, where they have one swing and they have to be on time with that one swing. Um, we don't sit down we don't lay down on the grass or anything like that. We don't do anything like that. But yeah, I'd like to think we've incorporated a lot of those things. We spend a lot of time on the breathing piece. I think that's important. It's the easiest way to slow things down for quality athletes. So.
How do you adjust to that with the clock though, too?
Well, I think that what I thought the clock was going to be a bigger issue, and I think so much of the clock was getting used to something. For me, I as a player, I would have probably gotten eaten up. I was slow at the plate. I was really methodical at the plate. I probably caused some issues for the pitchers. And I would have been very uncomfortable working at the pace that the clock requires you to. But our guys have had to make those adjustments, and so everything speeds up, and they still have plenty of time. They're going to have to, get their checkpoints, and they're going to have to do their breathing, and they're going to have to get focused, and they're going to have to, formulate a plan pitch by pitch. They're going to have to do all those things. It's just going to be quicker, and it looks like they've really made that adjustment, probably much better than I would have done back in the day.
What do you wish somebody would have told you before you got into coaching?
Boy, I don't know. I had a lot of great people telling me a lot of things. And I think the hardest thing for me to learn early was that I tied so much of my self-worth to outcomes, to winning. And I still want to win, and I want to win bad. But like my first year as a head coach at Whitewater was '04. We finished third in the nation. In '05, we won it all, and in '06, we didn't qualify for the NCAA. If I had a taller house, I probably would have jumped off of it because I was that miserable. I was that miserable that, man, I thought this was an easy gig. You just show up and good things happen. And so I guess my advice to people would be just number one, it's not that easy. Number two, you're going to have to find a way to be happy, even if you're not winning the last game of the year. And once again, I don't think you have to get complacent. I think winning is wanting to win, wanting to compete is part of us. But you certainly can't beat yourself up that much that if you don't do good one year, then you're completely a loser and you're not happy in your personal life.
Do you have any life mottos?
Mottos?
You got anything you live by?
Yeah. Leave it better than when you found it. That's probably my best one. I mean, like, I think that's pretty much everything we, and then, everyone's been talking about the gold standard. That's not a new thing. But I'm a big believer that the key to the gold standard is accountability. I don't think another change I think that has happened. I don't think coaches and teachers are holding the students accountable as much as they once did. And I know there's some things, it's different, it's harder. I don't think you have to do it like Bobby Knight either. I think, athletes and students want to be held accountable. I think we just as coaches, that's our number one job. So yeah, I'd say, leave the situation better than when you found it, when you got there. Reach for the gold standard, and then as coaches, our job is to hold them accountable, hold them accountable to a high standard.
You said you had a lot of people telling you stuff early on. What was some of the better advice you got?
Well, I was fortunate to have played, and I guess when I say telling me, maybe showing me would be a better idea. Having the conversations with me that would lead to something. First of all, I played for a wonderful high school coach, and he was really big on short kind of drill sets where you would do tees and toss, and you do all the preliminary stuff that most other high schools weren't doing, and so that was part of what I took from him, and then how he held us accountable discipline wise was unique to him. And then I had Coach Miller. His contribution was telling me maybe daily that if you didn't have to coach the brain, coaching would be easy, and that so much of the game has to be played up there. And then I had a fortunate opportunity to be with Charlie Green Sr. Charlie, of course, was down in Miami-Dade for a number of years. I got stuck carrying his duffel bag while doing a clinic in Europe, and his duffel bag was full of books. I didn't know it when I offered to help, but I think he really liked me because of that, and we became lifelong friends. And he just passed about a year and a half ago, and I miss him a lot. But he taught me so much about pitching, about the specifics of pitching and how we could develop it and how we could do it without compromising the loads on the arm and things of that nature. We still use a dowel, which is just a piece of wood, that was a Charlie thing. And so I still remember him, and the list goes on and on. A good friend, Terry Ayers, that we talk pitching like weekly. Coach Fuller, who spent 38 years coaching high school baseball and then retired and joined my staff. I mean, if I have something I'm pondering, I'm usually talking to him. And then, of course, all of those wonderful coaches, in the ABCA that we see on a regular basis. It wasn't too long ago. You got guys like Tim Corbin, that he's maybe the busiest man on the planet, but if I have a question, he takes my call, and I'm so grateful for that. So yeah, I think there's plenty of people that are willing to help you if you respectfully ask for it, and that's why it's been a great run. I hope it's not over yet.
I got a nice reminder in Omaha this year. Charlie Jr. would bring Charlie Sr. to our board meetings, and Charlie Jr. sent a text during board meetings this year, like, I miss you guys. I'm like, you could still come anyway. I know you're busy with the Brewers, but you could still make an appearance.
Yeah, I saw Charlie about a week ago, because there's a team. Yeah, there's a team from Germany training at our facility, and I got him tickets, and we went down there, and Charlie found the time to come out, talk to those players, and it was right in the middle of their run. I think they set the 13 in a row. So we got free burgers from George Webb.
You talked about the gold standard. Do you think another way to reframe that is lead by example?
I think it's in the same area. I don't particularly love lead by example, because when people say, yeah, he leads by example, that means he does his job. There's no leading going on. You're doing your job. So, I don't know who you're leading except yourself. You're certainly a great example of what we're trying to get. But yeah, what you see and what you're referring to is the athletes that have those high standards, that they're out early, they're out early, they're staying late, they're on their off days, they're getting the work done. That certainly is contagious, and that is absolutely, from a work standpoint, the gold standard. But then, not only do you have to show up, you got to do things the right way, right? I mean, that's the other part of the gold standard. It's not only what you do, but it's how you do it. And there's a big difference between almost right and exactly right. So that attention to detail, I think, is also part of that gold standard.
Did you ever get bad advice?
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Is there any such thing as bad advice? I think about that a lot. I don't know if there is bad advice. I think people give you advice from their experience, and I don't think there is such a thing as bad advice. I think they're giving you things that they think are going to help you, but it's from their experience.
Yeah, and I think what we do is what we do naturally, which is just trial and error, right? You tell me something you think would work, and I respect you enough to say, yeah, that sounds pretty good, and I try it, and if it sucks, I'm not going to tell you it sucks. I'm just going to probably stop doing it. I was Terry Ayers is the guy who got me on the weighted ball program, and he got it from Tom House and the whole VIP thing, and it's a legitimate program, man. There's nothing. I have no issues against it. I just felt for our guys, for the amount of time we're together, we needed some things that would increase pitchability. I didn't think we were improving movement patterns significantly by using the weighted ball. So like I said, it was a great suggestion, and I learned a lot from that exercise. We did it for seven years, and we learned a lot from it. So I'm not opposed to it. I just think, like you said, I think there's never bad advice. I think you try it and you see if it works into your system.
When you look across the dugout to another team, what makes you think that's a good assistant coach?
Well, sometimes it's hard to figure out who should be given the credit, right? If you're a head coach, it's of course you're the best head coach. You created the leadership for a great season. If you're an assistant coach, you're winning championships because you're really good at what you do, and the head coach doesn't know that much. He deals with the periphery, and that's the dynamics of coaching, right? So, and then of course you become both. You were an assistant, you become a head, and when you become a head, you realize there's gaps in what you were thinking. So I guess the first thing is it's pretty hard to determine who should be given the credit for the performance that's across the field from you. But I'll tell you what I look at a lot is I look commonalities of performance. Like if you play the same team every year and they're doing the same things well, that tells me they're getting coached on it. Like if their approach at the plate is somewhat consistent, not the same, because that would mean you'd have the same players, but consistent, that they compete well at the plate, or their pitchers, they're able to consistently throw strikes down in the zone with a 2-pitch mix. They control runners well. Those things are usually taught programmatically. So I don't know who can get the credit for it. Sometimes it's the assistant coach, or sometimes it could be simply the head coach emphasizing that those things are important. And so I don't know who to give the credit to. I just know that if I look across and they're consistent with their fundamentals and play, I know that that's a well-coached team. If you see a team one year and they're pretty good, and the next year they're not very good, and they're doing things differently, for example, maybe they're not good on the bases all of a sudden. Well, I think they probably aren't consistent in what they're teaching, and maybe I'll look a little bit down on that team. But for the most part, it's consistency of performance is what I look at.
You talked about accountability, and I agree with you, but it's got to start in the house. How can we start to bring some accountability back for society?
Yeah, I guess just like in government, it has to be local. It has to start local, right? The first thing is it has to be in your schools. It has to be in the houses. I'll be critical of me as a parent and our generation as a parent. We're the first. And I'm not a sociologist, so I can't, this is maybe not 100% true, so don't hold me to it. But it certainly seems that my generation decided that we were going to parent our kids different than how we were brought up. Like like my friends and we parent differently. Matter of fact, when we had our first kid, we were talking to my mom like she has no idea what we're doing raising this kid. Like, hey, you can't give it rice until this date, and don't hold the baby that way. I mean, these are all the things we were taught, in our class. And my mom's looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I'll be fine. Give me that baby. So I do think another example would be, we're like, we're the first generation that I know of that we think each kid needs their own room and they all need their own bathrooms. I mean, that's like, I was in there with my brother, and because of it, I really benefited from being with him. So yeah, like, I think it has to start with the families. I think it has to start in the schools at an early time. And then I think when it's all said and done, I think with when we get them, I think we got to set some standards, and it can't be predicated on talent, and it can't be predicated on winning, because if it is, we know people are going to lose, fall through the cracks. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that we have compromised due to the pressure of winning. That's what we've done. Like, players can do things that they couldn't do before because they're talented. I mean, it's amazing to me how many of the most talented players I see maybe aren't the hardest worker or maybe don't have the best attitude. And it's because they've been allowed to get away with it for their whole life. So I think it starts in the families. It's going to have to be in the schools. And we as parents have to support it. We have to support the teachers for doing it. I last thing, and then I'll get off my soapbox, but I think the biggest mistake we made is when we said parents need to be more involved in our education. Like, what do parents know about education? They don't know anything. They don't know what's happening at the school. Why do, so, we're not going to get out of that quickly, but the parents have to give our educators the opportunity to teach. And I never had a conversation with my mom or dad about, I can't believe what they did to me, and my parents took my side. Never did that happen. And that doesn't mean it's never the right thing to take the side of your kid. I just mean, yeah, we got to bring that stuff back and probably stop hovering so much and plowing a path for our kids. And I'm saying this as a person who's done it, right? So I'm not pointing you out or anyone else. It's something we have to find a way to walk away from.
I want to know where the switch was where we started to guard them from discomfort. Because I think that's the impetus of all of this, is that we decided that we're going to guard kids from discomfort.
Don't you think it started? I think it started with the idea that our job is to put them in the best position for success. We need to go to the best daycare. We need to go to the best preschool. We got to go to the best school. And when we start having that mentality of we got to put them on the good baseball team because they can't play with a guy who can't catch fly ball. I mean, that would be horrible. We got to put them on the best elite training team. And I think when you start going down that path of trying to provide them the very best, I think that's where we crossed over. I mean, ultimately, all the issues that we as parents bring, all the helicoptering and all the plowing, is because we want the best for our kids, and we're just trying to put them in a position to succeed. But we've forgotten that failure is probably the best teacher, and we just don't want to see it, and yeah, I don't have all the answers, but
my worst season before I got to high school was on a pony league team. We were terrible. I got picked. You had draft. We had really good Little League teams, like Division I players. Kevin Hardy was our center fielder, played linebacker for the Jags. Our starting shortstop played at Arizona State, and those guys all went to a different team. So I played on my pony league team. Was awful, but I probably learned more in that season trying to help the guys on that team than I did in any other season until I got to college, honestly, because I played on really good teams. So you just kind of took it for granted. So I learned more in that pony league season. That team was terrible. We maybe won 2 games the entire year, but I learned more in that season trying to help the guys on the team than I did in any other season because I was playing with terrible, terrible baseball players.
yeah, I think that piece is a little overblown. That you'll only reach your maximum if you grow up and play with, the very best. Like I think one of the mistakes we make is we continually push our youngsters up a level because they're on the better of the two teams. So instead of being the star, they're the 6 hitter, but they're up a level, and we're proud because they're playing up a level. But you win championships because you got guys. You got guys, and guys only become guys when they dominate at a level. Like when you're hitting 3 home runs in a Little League game, you're a guy. When you're the 6-hole hitter and they're asking you to hit and run and bunt, you're not a guy. And if you don't dominate at a level in your upbringing, I don't think you're ever going to dominate at the highest level. So we have to like I'd almost be better off playing a guy having him hit in the 4-hole and have him go 4 for 4 every game. Yeah, he'll eventually come down to earth when he goes 0 for 4 at the next level, but at least he believes that he can be the guy, and I think that's something that we've been shielding our kids from too. We'd rather have them play on a little bit better of a team, even if their role's not quite as important.
What adjustments would you like to see out of the portal or transfer rules?
Whoa, yeah, that's
Because that leads into that, the guarding from discomfort, that kind of leads into where we're at right now as a whole in college athletics with the portal and transferring.
Yeah, I don't want to get all these calls from all your folks, all right? But here's the reality.
I'll put it on me. You can come at me.
Okay.
Leave Coach Vodenlich alone. My email's on the back end of this podcast if you want to reach out to me instead.
So here's a couple quick thoughts. Number one, I don't know when they became so important. I don't remember when the kids and athletes became so important that it's everything about them. I mean, they don't even know what they need, right? Like should I, first day of practice, take all the freshmen and say, hey guys, what do you want to do today? Tell me what you think. Like, why would I ask them? So for the athletes, they don't know better. They're just doing the system. They're doing whatever's in the system. But we know that this is going to compromise real values like loyalty, perseverance, resiliency. We know these things are going to be swept to the side because the system is, if you don't like where you're at, just leave it. And which reminds me of another analogy I have, is it reminds me like of some dating app that if I came home, when my wife comes home, I just say, hey, sweetie, I love you. We've had a great, 25 plus years and with 2 great kids and everything. But I don't know. I'm feeling like I need to see what's out there. And, I think, possibly J-Lo might even be interested in me. So I'm going to go in this thing called the dating portal. But look, sweetie, if I don't get anything, like if J-Lo or Holly Berry don't call me, I'm coming home to you. How's that going to fly? You know how that's going to fly. Not very good, right? So, and that's a extreme analogy, but it happens in our business, in our life, in our jobs. I mean, just because it's not exactly like you like it, whatever happened to making it better so that you can overcome some obstacles in your life? So I hate the portal. I hate everything about it. And, but we got to learn how to deal with it. So one of the adjustments I think we should see is certainly there should only be one opportunity to
I agree with you, Toll. I agree. You have your one, just like we used to have. You have your one free one, but then after that, you got to sit out. We've got to get back. We've got to get back to that.
I mean, because otherwise, I mean, it just perpetuates another move and another move and another move. And when we get a transfer that's been to like three schools, I always say, I have a buddy, which I don't have a buddy, but I have a buddy. He's been married 4 times. And every time he said it was his wife's fault. His first 3, it was because his wife was like uncaring. And I said, when you've been to 3 schools, you might want to look at the mirror, right? It can't always be the coach. It can't always be the school. I can't believe you're still not starting. So for me, we're just pushing the reality down the road. And I don't like what it's doing to high school players. I think they're being overlooked because of what's happening. I don't like the fact that Division III has become, the better Division IIIs have become, a quasi junior college to pick from. I don't like that idea. It used to be, go do the D1 thing, and if that doesn't work, once you've had the one transfer, then you have to transfer down. Or it used to be they couldn't give them incentives, right? So you could go from D3 to D1, but they couldn't give you a full scholarship. They couldn't just cherry pick them. Those, I think, were all good things. Now, on the other side of things, I'm happy for our players that have entered, that have gotten legitimate offers. I'm as happy for them as I have for the 45 guys that have signed pro contracts, right? I mean, for me, it's almost like a pro contract back in the day. Back in the day, you're going to sign for $8,000. Well, they're signing for more now. Our guys are when they go to a legitimate school. So it's a complex issue, but I think we do have to make some changes. I would say off the top of my head, I think everyone should get one do-over, and then we probably need to go back to more similar to old rules.
Well, the other thing, too, is no one's talking about the delayed graduation piece of this. Because every time you move, not all those hours are going to transfer. So you're delaying your graduation by a year or two, or you're coming out. It's almost like, again, like the minor leagues, where you have a kid that played in the minors for, 5, 6, 7 years, and now they're trying to scramble to get a degree, and now they're coming out and they're 26, 27 without a degree. Like, that's the other piece that nobody talks about this. Every time you move, it delays your graduation, that probably another semester at least.
And I guess the counter to that would be, as long as you're paying for it, what does it matter? I'll just
and that's where this generation is too. Like, they don't care. I think they don't want to leave the bubble. I think kids are trying to delay their graduation because they don't want to leave the bubble and go out in the real world.
Yeah, but we've had a couple guys that have graduated from Whitewater and then entered the portal because they had another year left, and they wouldn't have left unless they were getting everything paid for from the school that recruited them, right? So for them, they're viewing it, hey, I get one more year in the sun at no cost.
Yeah.
At Whitewater, I had to pay something, but now I'm going one more time. So that I don't particularly have a problem with. I mean, you get an extra year and you get someone to pay for it. But I think those extra years are going to start to get tighter as COVID gets far in the distance. So we'll see what happens. I don't love where we're at. I like the idea of having a 4-year player in our program, a guy that when he's done, he's a Warhawk. 20 years from now, he's going to come to our homecoming. I like that. I don't ever want to be, Duke basketball or whatever, where you have them for 1 year and maybe you win a championship, but then they're gone the next year. That's going to be something that we'll have to just see how we can adjust.
Exit velocities are starting to jump back up again now with the newer technology. Do the bats need to be regulated again?
Boy, I hope not.
That's coming. I mean, I think that's going to be in the conversation here in the next year or two of the higher exit velocity. We're jumping to like 120 on certain balls hit now, and so I wanted to get your take on that. If you feel
Well, here's a couple things. If you come to a high school game, you'll know it looks significantly different than a college game or a pro game. Matter of fact, it doesn't always look like baseball. All right, no one's hitting them out of the park. If you get a double, that's great. At our game, if we went to wood, it would not look at all like the major league game that we love, right? I mean, the power numbers would go down. If you look back at why this changed, originally it changed supposedly for safety reasons. Matter of fact, in 1999, our league was the only league in the country, D3, to go to a wood bat. Okay, so 2 of our teams in our league had to play in the NCAA regional with wood, while the other 2 teams played with metal. Okay, that year out of our regional went St. Thomas, who had metal. Okay, I never thought I don't want to see anyone hurt, but like some of these rules. What's the percentage? Like now we're going to look 2 bases. How about just make a bigger base? Let's be done with that. Let's go with a bigger base. Let's go with the same bats. It's still not anywhere close to what we're seeing in the major leagues. I don't know a lot of guys getting hurt. I'd love to see injuries on balls hitting back on people. I'm not seeing that. And I sometimes feel like it's the bat companies that are wagging the dog, that now we're going to need another bat tester that at our level does nothing. I'm telling you, it does nothing. I mean, we put it through this thing, and who knows, man? I don't even know if that says anything to us. I can tell you our bats were not hot. We don't even know how to get them hot other than have good players. So, I don't know. And then there was a couple years there where we were moving bats every couple years, and you're thinking, yeah, maybe this is the industry telling us what to do. I don't see that. I don't see a need for 2 bases. I don't see a need for adjustment in the bats, at least not yet at our level. At the Division I level, maybe that's different. Maybe what the Division I team should do is they should go to wood. I mean, at the end of the day, how with the restriction of the MLB and everything changing,
and the amount of guys that are making it to the big leagues in a hurry now.
Right, and they absolutely made the decision that the colleges, the good colleges, can develop players just as good as the major leagues, right? I mean, if you go to Vanderbilt, you're going to know the game as good as you did if you went and played A-ball somewhere. All right, so Corbin and his crew are doing the job. So, and a lot of them are getting looked at. So maybe they should go wood. Yeah, I know this. If we keep changing bats, there's a cost involved to that. If we ever went to wood, man, I don't even know how many wood bats we'd sever in a season, and then how do we cover the cost? So yeah, I continue to wonder why we make all these rules that don't seem to be that important to us.
By the way, don't be surprised when Major League Baseball is using the double base. It's coming.
All right.
Especially because it had Division I had so much success with it, and like the coaches that used it in the first base.
And it's successful because of why? Because no one gets hurt.
That's the biggest part of it, and you eliminate the interference call at first base. That was the big one. Is you eliminate that. That's usually where you see people have issues with. That is, where's the base runner supposed to go? Because eventually they got to go in fair territory to hit the base.
So they knew where they had to go, and the umpires knew where they had to go for hundreds of years. But now all of a sudden we need a better look. If you're a right-handed hitter and you come out of the box, you're on the left side of the damn line. Yeah. Now you want me to run and come on, am I in play then? So I can run now on the inside. They'll still call it on you probably, right? Right. I mean, if it's a double base, the inside is the fielder's, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm a right-handed hitter. I'm coming out of the box. I'm on the inside of the line. Yep. I'm on the field side of the line. Now you want me to go all the way over to the right side? That makes no sense to me. Yep. So I don't know. I think part of the game used to be if the runner is trying to get hit with the ball, the good players knew how to make sure they didn't. Yep.
I just always felt like it rewarded the defense for errant throws. That was the thing that always bothered me about that, is it always felt like there was an errant throw from the catcher or the pitcher. They hit the runner, and the runner got called out, and so the defense got rewarded for a bad throw.
Do we have any statistics on how many times does the ball hit the runner going to first in the major leagues?
I'm sure.
I don't remember last time it's
stat
seen
nerd out there has that.
Is it .008?
Probably.
Okay, now we need a double base. What are we talking about? How many guys got injured last year because the ball was hit and coming off at too hard velocity? Yeah. I don't know the statistic. I haven't seen it. Yeah. I have seen it in the past, and I don't want anyone to get hurt. But baseball still, when you compare it to other sports, I think is pretty safe as far as collisions and things of that nature. Serious injuries for sure. We're masked up good. We have everything we need. We got gear all over. I don't know. I think we're doing a lot of good things with that. I don't know. I sometimes think we're coming up with rules that I still don't understand that rule where I have to declare when there's a guy at third. What is that all about? Am I in the wind or am I not in the wind? I don't know. I guess if I rock or step, I'm in the wind. If I don't rock or step, I'm not in the wind. I still don't understand that rule. So I'm a pretty simpleton. So you just let me know what the rule is and we'll try to adjust.
Is losing last year a fail forward moment? Is that a fail? It is a fail forward moment, isn't it? Where you get beat last year by Misericordia and turn around and win it this year?
Well, it's funny. It's amazing what the mind sees, because that's what happened to Misericordia. Misericordia was there 2 years in a row, and the second year they won it. And our guys knew that. Yep. And whether that actually, certainly you gain experience and feel for what it's going to be like. But there's also a psychological edge. So I think our guys had that psychological edge because they knew that that's what Misericordia did the year before. They had been there the year before. They didn't win it. Then they came back and won it. So now that's what we're going to do. So yeah, I think there's a net positive there. And once again, how much is reality and how much is in our mind, I don't know. But it certainly worked out.
Did you get any compliments for saving the ABCA Hall of Fame banquet?
That's funny. Yeah. I've had some friends that have texted me that that they thought I did an okay job. Yeah. So
how hard was that for you to be that concise?
Oh, it was pretty easy. I'm a confident man. I know you are as well. But I'm also somewhat intelligent, and I understand. I've been to a lot of those things. No one wants to hear me talk. for more than 5 minutes. So when they say you have to, you get to talk 5 minutes, I think they've given me enough time. I mean, I really do. Like that's like a party killer, like having to listen to some guys talk about something, and that could be a party killer. So I guess for me, I never am upset if they say 3 minutes or 5 minutes. I usually go over a little bit anyway, but I try to keep it tight because no one wants to hear that.
What are some final thoughts before I let you go?
Boy, appreciate everything you guys do. I appreciate the ABCA. I haven't signed up for this year yet, so I'm gonna get on it. I'm looking forward to the convention, the clinic. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for another year, and I'm so happy and privileged of all the support you guys have given us throughout the years, and I know your membership continues to blossom, which is awesome, and really appreciate that. So that's all I got for you.
We're off and running again. It's gonna be another record year. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Off and running again. So
and I think we're gonna drive, so that saves us a little money.
That's why we rotate it around. It's just that's always at the forefront of our minds here in the office, is trying to be as fair as we can to everybody, to rotate it around to different parts of the country if we can, if it's feasible.
Yeah, and usually
one is cost. It's always going to be, can we keep the hotel costs down? And I mean, we haven't gone. If you think about this, we haven't gone up on our membership in 5 years. We haven't gone up on convention in 5 years, and I think it's going to be able to stay that way. And we just signed our contracts out through like 2040 to keep the hotel costs down.
Right. Yeah, that matters. This one is kind of a replacement for the Vegas.
Yeah, we get a lot of those questions. People then, if you're wondering, but the Big Tech Conference is the largest in the world, and they take up every hotel room in Vegas, which we don't, and they're going to pay $600 a night for hotel rooms for the Big Tech Conference, which we can't ask coaches to do that. So that was in the contract that if the Big Tech...
So you kind of got bumped by the
We got bumped,
conference.
But in a roundabout way, when you talk to vendors that have been to shows in Vegas, they were happy that we ended up not going to Vegas, because they say you usually see people like the first day, and then after that you don't see them.
Well, you guys are going to start feeling...
But Columbus is going to be great. It's a great setup. It might be our best setup we've ever had, from hotels being attached to the convention center, and then 200 bars and restaurants within walking distance. It's basically would be like if Broadway was next to the Gaylord Opryland. Is the best way that I can explain it to people. It would be like if Broadway was next to, because High Street in Columbus is awesome.
Yeah. Well, the you guys should feel a little bit like the Portal, right? Right. Someone just threw the hotels a bunch of money.
We landed on a better spot.
Yeah. So good for you guys.
John, I appreciate it.
I look forward to it.
You're the best.
Thank you.